Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our top stories today from Politico, we haven't seen a pardon as sweeping as Hunter Biden's in generations. The full and unconditional pardon is aimed to protect the president's son from future prosecutions by the Trump Justice Department. Now, that's extraordinary, rage-inducing, and absolutely infuriating all at the same time. And anyone who has been a subscriber here to the BuzWeaver channel already knows the different directions we could go in and wax about when it comes to this level of abuse of power. Now, I'm calling it abuse of power mainly because, of course, we saw this coming. And I wouldn't imagine that a president was going to allow his son to have to go through what he was going to go through. But the fact that he pardoned his son despite everything that was happening is more of an example of him enabling his son and not helping his son to learn the hard lessons of life, which we would like to protect all our children from. However, we don't have the luxuries of being a president of the United States with this level of pardoning power. So we wouldn't be able to enable our children by keeping them out of harm's way like Joe Biden can. And of course, we have other things to cover when it comes to this. But President Joe Biden's grant of clemency on Sunday night, an extraordinary political act with extraordinary legal breadth, insulates his son from ever facing federal charges over any crimes he possibly could have committed over the past decade. Now, I personally don't care what Hunter Biden did. The fact that his laptop was denied was extraordinary, to the point where the New York Post topic on that subject was removed from Twitter at that time. You couldn't talk about it because it was supposed to be Russian disinformation. Remember, the same people who told us that the 2-year fabricated Russian collusion story was also real. It's extraordinary. Experts on pardons said that they could think of only one other person who has received a presidential pardon so sweeping in generations, Nixon, who was given a blanket pardon by General Ford in 1974. Now, the Watergate situation pales in comparison to what you could talk about when it comes to Barack Obama, to when it comes to even Joe Biden. But the idea of this is absolutely unprecedented. And she says here, or Margaret Love says, I have never seen language like this in a pardon document that purports to pardon offenses that have not apparently even been charged with the expectation of the Nixon pardon, said Margaret Love, who served from 1990 to 1997 as the U.S. pardon attorney, a Justice Department position devoted to assisting the presidents on clemency issues. And here's the thing. So Joe Biden full and unconditional pardon of his son is deliberately vague. It has to be. Donald Trump and his allies have long fixated on the president's son, and Trump has repeatedly pledged to use his second term to investigate and prosecute members of the Biden family. Conservative commentators have engaged in parlor game speculation that Hunter Biden could be charged with bribery, illegal lobbying, or other crimes stemming from his foreign business activities and drug addiction. Now, I'm not worried about his drug addiction. I'm not worried about his taxes. I'm not worried about his drug use and his drug addiction. It's just that, you see here, the starting date of January 1st, 2014 in the Biden pardon was surely not chosen randomly. Hunter Biden joined the board of Burisma Holdings of Ukraine gas company in April 2014. While his father was vice president, Republicans have accused the younger Biden of illegally profiting off his position on that board, which he did do. That's exactly what he did. And that's just one of them. We're going to get to the other charges here in a minute, but here's what I find fascinating. Also from Politico, Democrats openly criticize Biden's pardon. No family should be above the law. Remember, now see, here's the thing. Both the Democrats and the media are enraged also, just like I am, over this, because for the Democrats, they kept saying that no one was above the law. Well, this illustrates that, well, with the pardon, some people are above the law. And the reason the media is upset is because in countless interviews and the waxing of the media to fluff up Joe Biden and circle the wagons, they perpetually said that Joe Biden would not pardon his son. So that's why they're upset as well. Democrats on Monday began more forcibly criticizing President Joe Biden for pardoning his son Hunter, saying that he's given his son special treatment and further eroding confidence in the rule of law. There was no rule of law or justice that happened in our country in the last 4 years, at least in the last 4 years. It had all been a manipulation by the establishment uniparty who facilitated those individuals on the left. They hijacked our culture, they hijacked our institutions, and they hijacked our justice system. As we see right now, it's abuse. Just hours after Biden pardoned his son, Senator Gary Peters of Michigan called it an improper use of power. Republican Mary Gluskemp-Perez of Washington, a frontline Democrat, said Biden made the wrong decision. No family should be above the law, while Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado said it further erodes America's faith that the justice system is fair and equal for all. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, it's the words just fail me at the level that these people have reached. The insult to our intelligence. This whole time they knew exactly what was going on, and I am so glad that my fellow Americans voted for Donald Trump as they did, and that he won the popular vote as well, because this is agonizing. So let's outline here for you guys just a few other things that could also be removed from this broad, very broad pardon. So you have the China Hunter Biden business associate and Chinese investors agreed to create Bohai Harvest RST equity investment. That was one thing. And then, of course, here we have Burisma. That was going on there. So Hunter Biden met Kazakhstani oligarchy. And then, this was in Kazakhstan when they were setting up another shell company. And then, of course, you have oligarchs in Russia. The wealthiest woman of Russia, married to the former mayor of Moscow, right? Wired Thornton Bank $3.5 million. And then, of course, you have additional Russian connections with Hunter Biden here. And, of course, this list goes on and on. This list is massive of all the possible things that they could do to go after Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. And, I mean, the list is absolutely expansive. But I just wanted to show it to you. Now, it goes on for a long way of all the particular things. This is why the pardon was so broad. And here's what's interesting. They want to talk about the rule of law and justice in our country, but they intentionally mislead people when it comes to what all was going on with Judge Merchan and Judge Engoron. The idea that a judge was going to allow individual verdicts is unheard of in law. It is absolutely ridiculous. The jury is supposed to be unanimous. They're not supposed to give individual verdicts. They have to come at a conclusion, a unanimous conclusion, and this was just overlooked in Merchan's case. And not only that, Merchan wouldn't even let President Trump's attorneys object to things without threat of being threatened with obstruction. It was absolutely ridiculous. And then here we have in the Judge Engoron case. And as Kevin O'Leary says right here, there was no victim. There was no crime. We have talked about this before.
And let's leave out politics and just talk about what happens in real estate development anywhere. So if you're a developer and you've got a building on a block anywhere in America and it's worth, let's say, $500 million, and you want to build a building right beside it, you go to the bank and say, this building is worth $500 million. I'd like to borrow a construction finance loan against this asset, and I want you to tell me it's worth $500 million too. And the bank negotiates with you and says, well, no, we think it's worth $400 million. And you fight it out. You're always trying to show your assets in the brightest light with the sunshine you could possibly determine for them. You want them to be worth the very most, because you're only going to get a 40 or 50% loan to value, as it's called. Then you borrow that money. In the case of a $500 million asset, maybe you get $250 million, and you build a new building with a construction finance loan. And so that's what this case is all about. And by the way, forget about Trump. Every single real estate developer everywhere on earth does this. They always talk about their asset being worth a lot, and the bank says no. And that's just the way it is.
It is. And see, Judge Engoron was trying to suggest that in this negotiation, Deutsche Bank didn't do its due diligence, and Deutsche Bank was like some individual at a yard sale who was getting price gouged. The bank was paid. The insurers were paid. The loan was paid. The building was built. There was no victim. Talk about the rule of law. And this is what makes me so aggravated and enraged, is that the American people have been lied to this entire time, treated like idiots, because these people bury the truth in their framing and in their strategizing. It's absolutely pathetic. Here, let me give you an example.
Your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
Your son Hunter.
See, this is, and he's in the interviewee here is just so sappy, so scripted, and it's just so agonizing to see this. And here's from Keith Olbermann. Here, no one is above the law, not the rich, not the powerful, not the derelict. Pardon Hunter, great. Now pardon everyone else, every prosecutor, every Biden administrator staffer, every media figure, everybody Trump will prosecute. 10,000 pardons at least. Oh, wait a minute. Did Keith Olbermann just admit that there's at least 10,000 people, or 10 million, I'm sorry, 10 million people that have been engaged in nefarious activity? Oh my goodness, he just admitted it. And look at Swalwell Hill. Swalwell tells Trump supporters to sit out criticizing Biden pardon. Wow. How much more evidence would you need of these individuals treating people like they're complete idiots than us to have to set aside, right, to ignore, to look the other way when these people continue to do the nonsense that they do? And of course, I was going to start things off with Kash Patel because I thought for sure they're going to be ranting about that. And here's Keith Olbermann again. Pardon Hunter, great. Okay, and then again, it's a 10 million. And here's from Brooklyn Dad, who's just an agonizing, well, it's not a real person. It's somebody who runs this individual account who names himself Brooklyn Dad. It's absolutely agonizing. If you're not guilty, you don't need a pardon. And then, of course, from NPR, President Biden pardons son Hunter. And then, of course, no one's above the law. Here it is from Joe Biden himself. No one is above the law. By pardoning his son Hunter, not merely for a single crime, but for all actual or potential crimes he may or may not have created over an 11-year period, Joe Biden has made clear that some people are, in fact, above the law. I am enraged, absolutely enraged by this nonsense. The way the American people have been treated as though we are complete, total idiots is ridiculous. And I think now at this point, Donald Trump should absolutely go after every one of these elite, annoying, disruptive, un-American, condescending individuals in the deep state, in the establishment uniparty. You guys will have to let me know down in the comments if you agree 100%. By all means, hit that like button to show your agreement and the algorithm. And, of course, just the extraordinary nonsense of it all. Let me know down in the comments if you have any thoughts on this. And, of course, I want to thank all you guys across New Tech, Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey for your guys' continued support. And, of course, everyone here on YouTube. You guys have all been amazing. And below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to and my affiliate marketing. It all helps out the channel. But, of course, your likes, your shares, and your comments do help out the channel. Appearing there on the screen for all of you watching on YouTube, that would be the channel icon. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.